He kicked the chairs and he kicked the boots, he kicked everything, the waters, the drinks, and he's so red
and it hits back.
I really hope your legs is broke like the Ferguson wanted like but
Sir Alex Ferguson is a legend, and without doubt one of the greatest managers the game has ever seen.
One man who has been part of the tapestry of the history of this club has won 5 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, 10 Charity Community Shields, 1 European Cup Winners' Cup, 1 European Super Cup, 2 Champions League titles, Intercontinental Cup, 1 FIFA Club World Cup, and 13 Premier League titles. The impossible dream made possible by the greatest British manager ever, Sir Alex Ferguson.
His success in turning Manchester United into a dominant force for more than a decade not only earned him the reputation of a master of mind games, but also cemented his image as one of the most ruthless managers in football history.
The hairdryer.
The hairdryer obviously is a myth. Let me just put that out there. But that apparently was the treatment that underperforming players received from Sir Alex.
I remember sometimes when we do something bad or we lost some games, he kicked the chairs and he kicked the boots, he kicked everything, the waters, the drinks, and he's so red and he should pass the ball. It's unbelievable, but it was good because we learned.
During his 26 years in charge at United, many players felt the full force of his temper.
he's raging.
It was my boots.
He's actually connected, absolutely centre forward style, you know what I mean?
And he just goes and it hits back.
Everyone's gone up, it's all gone off.
Ferguson was known as a man who would never tolerate anyone ignoring his rules.
We're not lip reading.
I wasn't well that day.
And even Ferguson, you remember when I say, I hope your legs is broke. I really hope your legs is broke like the Ferguson wanted like Nani. But you don't even understand. First of all, he was like killing Nani.
In the dressing room, I could be really angry, it could be volatile, it could be... But it was over. And the players knew that. They knew that. I never brought up again. I never held a grudge, ever in my life.
And when you heard it was called the hairdryer, did you think...
Honestly, I didn't like it at the time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was a bit annoyed, you know. But now, you have to
You can smile.
place it in the comedy part, you know.
We played Benfica away, got beat. We didn't play well, and he was shouting at me, and I thought I was one of our best players on the day. And I was thinking, oh, what are you shouting at? So I started going back at him, shouting back. And the problem is, which I failed to learn quickly, is that the more you shout at him, the louder he gets, and the more aggressive he gets, and the closer he gets to you.
He had that skill of, have you got to put your arm around someone, or have you got to lose your temper to get the best out of them? I remember him having a go at me at half time, and I had the sort of attitude, right, okay, I'll show him, and played well the second half. So then he quickly knew how I would respond to him losing his temper. That followed me for the next 20 years, so it was a big mistake early on.
Giggsy sometimes would have to do one thing wrong in a half. Half time comes, he would hammer Giggsy. But that was to show the other players no one's exempt from getting hammered, and you better all fix up, because I'm coming for you at full time if you don't sort this out.
Some time ago, while giving a lecture at Harvard University, Sir Alex explained how his ruthless standards and relentless winning mentality turned United into the most feared force in the Premier League.
I think that fears could kill people. It's also can be an inspiration to you.
He possessed a powerful personality, knowing exactly when to act and when to apply pressure to keep his players disciplined.
Managing Manchester United, biggest brand football brand in the world. I'll tell you, I was scared. I had a lot of trepidation about it because this is a massive club. But I said to myself, I am not going to change. I am not going to change. I'm going to do what I believe in.
When I worked with the greatest talents, I told them that hard work is also a talent. They had to work harder than everyone else. If they could no longer live by the discipline we demanded at United, they were finished.
As football was becoming globalised, the art of the manager and what they were able to control changed.
He felt that your dedication should only be towards your football.
He's a boy from Glasgow, and that's never far away from him, you know, that aggression.
Paul McGrath was one of the most accomplished defenders of the 1980s and 1990s. In his autobiography, McGrath revealed that he nearly quit football in 1989 after a conflict with Alex Ferguson, who had been manager for only 3 years at the time.
The case of Paul, I couldn't accept the way that Paul lived his life, you know, and that was it really. But at the end of the day, you stand and fall by your decisions. I think management's about decisions. I think it's about being positive about decisions. People recognise positive behaviour in managers. I think they look for it. And I think the players then sat up and says, well, he does.
Ferguson had replaced Ron Atkinson and arrived with a mission to restore Manchester United's former glory. One of his earliest projects was to eradicate the drinking culture among United players. However, McGrath, who at the time was one of United's best players, felt Ferguson went too far. The manager constantly monitored him, and McGrath felt he was not trusted. He was frequently embarrassed in front of others and often found himself on the receiving end of Ferguson's famous hairdryer treatment. McGrath's drinking habit was something Ferguson simply could not tolerate.
But that the drinking culture at the club was holding them back, you know, whether it was yourself and Norman or Brian Robson and a number of other players maybe involved in that.
Yeah.
Looking back now, do you think that was the case? Did that what stopped the team going over?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I think when Sir Alex had us up in the in his office and telling us this can't go on. It's stupid. Like, what you're doing to yourselves. You're forcing my hand anyway. And I would have to say that I think Sir Alex had intimated to one or two people that I got to hear about that I wasn't one of the players he was particularly happy with at Old Trafford, and this was before he'd even arrived at the place. So I knew I was for the heave-ho anyway. The first game we played was Oxford away, I think, and he put me in midfield. I was a centre-half. He put me in midfield, and then he took me off at half-time. That warm side, I could not find it, honestly. I liked what he was trying to do and stuff like that, but I think in your first game, if you're going to play a person like me out of position and then take me off at half-time, you're trying to tell me something. I know you're trying to tell me something.
He admitted that he handled you wrong. He said if he'd have been a more experienced manager, he would have been more fatherly. You know, that he almost needed to mellow himself as the years later on, and he would probably handle players differently later.
I think he's doing himself a misservice there, because I think what he did was totally right for Manchester United. You know, and that his job was to root out what was happening at Manchester United that was wrong.
Yeah.
And me and Norman at that stage were wrong for Manchester United.
The manager even offered him $100,000 to retire from football altogether. McGrath hesitated, but ultimately rejected the offer and chose to join Aston Villa. At 29 years old, he still had plenty left to give. McGrath went on to achieve remarkable success with Aston Villa and the Republic of Ireland national team. But Ferguson believed that success would never have happened had he remained at Old Trafford. I'm sure the McGrath we saw at Villa had changed, but that would never have happened at Old Trafford because he was hiding inside a false cocoon. He surrounded himself with people who were a bad influence. I always sensed the fragility in that man, and felt sorry for him because he was a victim of his own nature.
When you were drinking and then, did you ever find yourself drunk on the pitch then, playing?
Yeah, most definitely.
Really?
Yeah, I've played. I know for a fact I played against Alan Shearer drunk, and I played against Duncan Ferguson drunk.
Years later, McGrath recalled that after his team defeated United in the 1994 Coca-Cola Cup final, Ferguson approached him and said, "Good job, big man," thumping his chest before shaking his hand with a smile. I took it as a sign of affection. It turned out he was actually a very good man. I regret hating him for 5 years. Their relationship improved afterwards, and Ferguson even invited McGrath to join the United management team after his retirement. Peter Schmeichel is remembered as one of Manchester United's greatest goalkeepers.
Good one. And on it down. A wonderful save by Schmeichel. You won't find a better save anywhere than that. It was past him and he got it away.
Just know that he is the world's number one. He's without question the best goalkeeper in my playing career or managerial career ever, in my mind.
I know he's the best goalkeeper in the world. I'm just so happy I don't play against him.
In there towards Cottee. Chance for Derry! Magnificent save from Schmeichel.
He was making saves when it mattered, and that's the true test of a goalkeeper at this club. Gets you points that others can't, and those points add up to winning titles.
Just the presence of the man, you know, when he came in, I mean, just the size of Peter, he was huge. You could see he was something special.
He was renowned for his shot-stopping ability and his intimidating presence between the posts.
Peter making the vital saves.
He reinvented the position. He gave something to football. The Schmeichel, like a monster.
Oh, brilliant save! Absolutely.
But Schmeichel nearly lost his place at Old Trafford following a fierce argument with Ferguson.
It was brutal. Yeah. It was probably the worst I've ever seen.
United had drawn 3-3 against Liverpool at Anfield in January 1994 after leading 3-0. Schmeichel received his first taste of the infamous hairdryer treatment. According to the Danish goalkeeper, Ferguson desperately wanted to beat Liverpool. He was furious because we had thrown away the chance to beat them.
We were 3-0 up in no time, and we should have been 7-0 up, and we ended up drawing 3-3, and I kind of felt that I kept us in. For some reason, we just stopped playing. You know, you don't do that at Anfield.
He went at us, and very quickly he focused his anger on me.
It's just fried up, you know, completely, and I just couldn't take it. Why me?
So I swore back at him. Ferguson replied, "You know, I'll sack you." Schmeichel answered, "Fine, let me go."
He calls me into the office and the next time we're in, and he says, "You were out of order, and you know I have to let you go." At this time, I'm still not understanding completely that I am in the wrong here. I then go, "Wait, guys, I just want to say I'm sorry about whatever I did on Saturday. I embarrassed you, I embarrassed the manager. I apologize to the managers, you know. I also want to apologize to you guys because I was really out of order." I never hear anything about this sacking, but he's told my agent, he was listening by the door, and he said, "Okay, I didn't expect that." Okay, forget about it.
Yeah, change his mind.
But in a way, I was used as a guy, but he's making points to everyone.
What was it actually over?
I don't know. Don't know.
He blamed you for a goal, I think.
Yes, probably. But what I learned very, very quickly was that he needed an out. He needed an out. So very often it was in games where things were going well. You know, he needed something off his chest. And he had certain players that he would do that to. I was one of them, Pally was one of them, you were one of them, and Ryan was one of them, which is kind of weird, right? So he's coming in, I don't remember this specifically, but he's coming, and the thing I liked about him was, yes, it would have been, as you say, brutal, and to watch it would have been whatever, but you were allowed as a player. You were allowed to talk back, and he wanted it. He wanted that confrontation.
Do you think he did?
Yeah. Absolutely, yes. Because it was shaking things up. He wanted that. And what I learned with him was that 95% of everything he says and said, even in those situations, were by design. He'd been thinking about it. I'm waiting for the opportunity to say that, for instance. Or to
I
say
agree with that.
So he would pick those moments, and the good thing about that is once it happened, gone.
Well, you came in the next day, you apologised, Peter. Do you remember that was?
But that was a 3-3 game.
I know, I'm sure that was.
No, for sure that's a 3-3 game. Absolutely,
The
yes.
3-3 game, I'm actually to stand behind the goal, obviously.
Because I felt, because he picked on me after the game, and I was honestly, I don't know if you remember, the second half was so bad, but I made a lot of saves. I kind of felt that I kept the team in it, but what he blamed me for was my goal kicks. They ended up with Razor Roddick every time. And I'm like, he's 80 yards away. What the hell can I do, you know? So I just felt really, really hard done by him picking on me. And I mean, my head went, of course. And that was, that's probably my biggest regret in football.
What did you say? Did you tell him to?
I'm not repeating that.
It's a safe space here.
It is. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does. I put it in my book so you can read my book.
Did you apologise because you think that could have been your last game?
I got caught. So the next, this is a Saturday game. Monday morning, he calls me into the office and he says, "I'm going to sack you. Can't have a player doing that." I said, "That's fine. I accept that." I apologise to him. And then he calls a meeting in the dressing room and he goes berserk. Remember, that's probably the worst I've ever seen him. He was so angry. Never done that in training before, but he was. And then he leaves, and I apologized to the team. My behavior was so out of order, and you know, certain things you can do and certain things you can't do. You know, in the 90 minutes, I feel that you can say whatever. You know, because it's all about winning. Before the game and after the game, you can't say anything. That's it. It's up to the manager or the coaches to talk about what's happened, but you can't go in and say you played bad or you. And I did that. I say, and I shouldn't have done that. And
what you said to other players have played bad.
I brought that into the.
Was he going to sack you off that one moment?
But then the story goes on that he then stopped outside the dressing room and listened in, and he didn't think that I was do that. I said, okay. He honestly never brought it up again.
Really?
Never. But
surely arguments happen in dressing rooms. I know what you're saying in the 90 minutes, it's very emotional, but you can still be emotional after a game, can't you, for a certain period?
Yeah, but
it was, to be fair, there could be a spark that could ignite that dressing room. It was, to be fair, when I was travelling with the team around that time. I mean, obviously when I broke into the team, he would have a go at players sometimes, but it was definitely more ferocious in those early 90s than it was, say, late 90s, when I think more international players came in, younger players came in, and certainly in the 2000s it was different again.
But wasn't it brilliant?
Oh,
it was brilliant, wasn't it, Peter? Like, that edge.
There was an edge.
There's an edge to everybody, big personalities. Obviously, we're all trying to win. There was an edge at the training ground. There was an edge to training, the boxes, possession, the running. There was always that edge which I think drove the club. We talk about the word culture, whatever. That players wanting to win, the manager, the training, led to arguments, disagreements, fights. No, it did, but it was all part of the package.
Jaap Stam was one of the finest defenders in the world. He played for United between 1998 and 2001 and was a key part of the historic treble-winning side. Yet after only 3 seasons, he was sold to Lazio. Ferguson was angered by several passages in Stam's autobiography, Head to Head.
Then around that time, your book, Head to Head, that comes out.
Yeah.
Did you expect, in your heart of hearts, that it would cause as much controversy as it did?
No, not at all. Not at all, because we wrote this book with the intention of just giving a bit of like inside information about how we work at United, how the atmosphere within the dressing room, and about certain players, and nothing about being or having criticism towards other people or players or managers or whatever, because it's not, because people say autobiography. It's not an autobiography, it's just a book about, at United, as a player, my time over there, what we do, how we think, you name it, basically. So, and then of course, like you're saying, there's a lot been written in the papers about it, because was it the Mirror? They bought the rights. They bought the rights about in 4 days to make some, how do you say it, headlines and get certain pieces of that book within the paper, which is what nobody's reading. They only read like the big headlines exactly. You know, that was quite frustrating for myself at the time. Yeah.
Oh, I can understand that, but you're on international duty with Holland at the time.
Yeah, I needed to go on the Monday. I remember very well. Because these are things that you never forget, basically. Because the book came out on the Monday. The papers came out on the Monday morning, and on the Monday afternoon we had to join up with the national team. We played England on the Wednesday, I believe, because we played in the UK as well. I knew it was sold to the Mirror. So my wife said, "Oh, I'm going to go out and get the paper." And then already, like the first day, I read the headlines, what was written in it. So I was like completely shocked in how it was set in or put in the papers, basically, because it was not in how it was in the book. Because you don't have the rights. If they sell it, well, you know it best. If they sell it, you don't have any. You can't make your decision in what they want or what they want to put above the
input from yourself.
No, so you can't do anything about that. So basically, I was quite shocked, that first day already. So I spoke to the manager as well, and I went to him, spoke to him about it, and he said, don't worry about it. And I've had it with my book as well, and then I thought, okay, but as long as you know what's been written in the papers, the headlines in the papers, it's not at all what it is in the book, in what they say. So and then I went to the national team, and then the second day and the third day it was the same again. So in that period, that week or half week, I didn't focus on football. I was only like with my mind on what was in the papers and what people were saying about it and what was written about it. And how people were acting because of this being into the papers.
So at the time, Sir Alex Ferguson is saying, look, I understand this has happened with my book as well.
Yeah.
But then after a series of these massive headlines that you've just spoken about, you return to Manchester.
Yeah.
What's Sir Alex Ferguson like then? How does he react? What do you talk about? What's your meeting like?
I went after the game. I went back to Manchester because we played at Spurs at the time, and the next day I told my wife as well, I'm going to go straight away early in the morning because I want to speak to the manager about what happened and everything, because I heard he wasn't too happy with everything. So I spoke to him and we had a brief conversation. Not the best, to be honest, and then I went back into my car and I went home, and then my agent phoned me. I phoned my wife, hang up. My agent phoned me and he told me, Jaap, where are you? I said, well, I'm in my car back home. And I just had a meeting, but I went back home, and he said, well, they're going to call you back because they've sold you. And then after that,
Did you think he was joking?
I thought, he was. I thought he was joking. And then after that, I hang up, and then the manager, Sir Alex, phoned me. And he asked me where I was, and I said I was in the car halfway, from Carrington to my house. And then he said, wait for me, I'm going to come over. And then I spoke to him in the car, and they told me that, he told me that he was, they had an offer at Monaco, where all the teams from the Champions League came together. They had an offer, and they agreed it. So, and he was going to be playing other players, and he brought in a different defender as well, who was on a free transfer, Laurent Blanc at the time. So and then I said, okay, but first I want to, and who is it? And then later he said, okay, it was Lazio. And then I said, well, I'm not sure if I want to go. So first I want to see. And I can always say, I could have said, okay, I want to stay at the club. I still have a contract, a long-term contract, and then be on the bench. But of course, everybody at United knew how I was as a person, how I am as a person. That I was never going to be on the bench and say, okay, I'm going to be on the bench for half a season and then waiting for my opportunity again. I would have played eventually, I know that, but at the time, how everything went, the how do you say it, the relationship is not anymore how it was, and then I made my decision to move on.
Just tell us about that. I just want to rewind a little bit. When Sir Alex Ferguson called you and said, where are you, after your agent had called, and you said you're on your way home, he said, wait, I'm going to meet you. Did he come to your house, or did he?
No, he came halfway. I was at the parking. There was like on the right side. There was like a big shopping thing. I was there on the. I went out there and I was waiting there for him.
Selling Stam later became one of Ferguson's biggest regrets and drew strong criticism from United supporters. Paul Ince knew exactly what it meant to cross Sir Alex Ferguson. Ince joined Manchester United from West Ham in 1989 for $1 million and enjoyed tremendous success at Old Trafford. During his time at the club, he won 2 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, 1 League Cup, and the UEFA Super Cup. A powerful defensive midfielder, Ince played a key role in ending United's 26-year wait for a league title.
At Norwich, we're 3-1 up. Norwich are vying for the title. I've had a very good game, played really well. Last 5 minutes, I get the ball, I try to beat 1 or 2 players, get caught, that was it. So we get into the changing room, everyone's high-fiving, well done boys, great result. He comes in, you, see you. I'm thinking, what's he going mad for? Just won 3-1. He said, you ain't Ryan Giggs, you ain't Konchelskas, you pass the ball, you do this, you do that. I'm not prepared when I felt that we've won, everyone's happy, and that's it. So we started effing and blinding. I said, listen, Gaffer, you know what I mean? Gaffer, you can yourself, do what you want. In mind, we've just won. Off. All right? No, that's what I said. And then all of a sudden he said, don't you talk to me, and he went for me. Yeah. And then Brian Kidd stood up, Lee Sharp stood up, and I said, come on in. It's just that red mist descends, and I just feel like...
Ferguson kept shouting, and Ince recalled the manager's spit flying into his face as he raged. I tried to answer back, but his spit went straight into my mouth, so I just kept quiet. Ince gradually lost his place in the side as David Beckham, Nicky Butt, and other academy players emerged. After 2 years at Inter Milan, he made a controversial move to Liverpool, a decision that further angered Ferguson.
But in terms of the football field, there has to be the right balance. There has to be humility, and I think that basically footballers like people around about and they're just feeding the ground. They recognise people get carried away at times, and Paul for a spell get carried away.
Ruud van Nistelrooy, the Dutch striker, was Sir Alex Ferguson's main goal-scoring weapon between 2001 and 2006. He became one of the most prolific forwards ever to wear the Manchester United shirt. In 219 appearances for the club, Van Nistelrooy scored 150 goals, helping United win the Premier League, FA Cup and League Cup. But his time at Old Trafford ended bitterly. The arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo unsettled him. He frequently complained about Ronaldo's style of play, believing it was far less suited to him than David Beckham's delivery had been.
He's broken his silence on the rift between himself and Sir Alex Ferguson, with the Dutchman insisting that he's got no idea what's going on with regard to his future at Old Trafford.
Ferguson increasingly left him on the bench. Van Nistelrooy grew frustrated and at one point even verbally abused the manager. In 2006, he left for Real Madrid. His change in attitude was dramatic, Ferguson later said. Ruud believed the team was stagnating. He didn't believe we could win the Champions League, especially with young players like Rooney and Ronaldo. In 2010, encouraged by his wife, Van Nistelrooy contacted Ferguson and apologized sincerely for the way he had left the club. Ferguson forgave him. Perhaps it was a complex sense of guilt. That feeling may have stayed in his mind for years. Ruud was undoubtedly a more mature man by that stage.
How do you think about his ruthlessness? You know, when he knew a player's time was up.
I think that was also part of his genius, that he knew when the right time was, and there will be players who disagree with him, but whatever he did, he thought was for the best of the club, and he wasn't afraid to do it.
One of the most famous disputes in Manchester United history was the clash between Sir Alex Ferguson and his star player David Beckham. Ferguson was born and raised in Glasgow, a city where football is treated almost like religion. He despised the world of show business. So when Beckham began his relationship with Victoria, Ferguson began to question his professionalism. They argued about many things, including Beckham's famous mohawk haircut. Gary Neville once said they argued at least once a week.
We could see there was a tension there.
Not forever now.
The conflict reached its peak in February 2003, when United lost 2-0 to Arsenal in the FA Cup 5th round.
From what I remember, we lost against Arsenal.
A very stern looking Sir Alex Ferguson, and no wonder.
We walked in the changing room and the boss is fuming. I can see by his face. And when you see the boss's face like this, you don't want to be anywhere near him.
Show me his face.
Oh no, it's a face that no one can do. Trust me.
And when you lose, you take your boots off and you kick him off, and you sat there waiting for the gaffer to talk.
They just set the kit off on the floor. Joe Mugg here used to come along and pick it up, but Sir Alex was doing his debrief. You know, you've done this wrong, you've fucking well done that wrong.
And he starts effing and blinding on David.
David, this about this goal. You didn't follow your run out. And I went back at the boss. I said, no.
Look at the video, David says. Sir Alex, I don't need a fucking video. I've got my eyes, I remember.
And then I swore, I said the F word.
And he kicks whatever's in front of him.
He's actually connected, absolutely centre forward style, you know what I mean? He's got it right. He's going top corner.
And he just goes, zzz, zzz, and it hits Becks.
Hits him.
Everyone's gone up. It's all gone off. He couldn't say in front of everybody, I'm sorry about that. It was such an accident. He couldn't say that because you lose your control in the training room, you lose your strength and power in there. But he tapped him on the leg and he walked out and said, sorry about that. And you knew he was gutted about it.
Becks has actually got that boot now.
One of the cardinal rules of Manchester United under Alex Ferguson is that no person is bigger than Man United.
He had this way about him, Sir Alex, where he could be the best player at the football club, but there comes a time when you're moving on.
David Beckham is leaving Manchester United for Real Madrid for around £25 million.
Ferguson was the boss, and Beckham ended up in Madrid.
You didn't cross Alec. Alec was a great friend. But if you crossed him, if you went against him, he was ruthless.
That coldness and that calmness with which he would do that sent signs to the change room, do not mess around with this guy. Because
I think the thing that amazed me and used to frustrate me at times was his man management. I'd never seen him have a go at Eric Cantona, for example. Some of the players would resent that. Why is he not having a go at Cantona? He's missed a penalty, or why is he not having a go at Cantona? He had an awful game. The manager knew in the long run that he would come good, that he would produce the goods at the right time. Yeah, his man management was second to none.
To have always the honesty that allows him to be father, friend, brother of a player, enemy of a player. But enemy for a few seconds. But then the brother comes again, or the old brother, or the father. These human qualities are absolutely crucial to be a great leader.
When you were playing, and you were playing either Arsenal or Manchester United, which of the two, Arsene Wenger or Sir Alex, did you find the most intimidating, if either?
Obviously, Sir Alex. I mean, I really like Arsene Wenger. I've got a huge respect for him. I think he's got a different persona, different demeanour. Yeah. Sir Alex, let you know. I remember one time we played Jews up there in the dressing room. Our dressing room was near his opposite office, the manager's, and I remember him telling you off once. Me? Ferdinand! He shouted. And then I saw Rio just walking around.
You walking like that?
Down. Oh. And he would have known that our Chelsea team were in earshot. Yeah. He was just in his own world. He ran the place. So,
You just never knew what was coming. If he called you to his office, it was like being head teacher. You call you to his office and you think, you look around and everyone would start laughing at you and you going, oh my God, what have I done now? And you start trying to think, what have I done? What have I stepped out of line anywhere? And you get in there, and I think that time it was like, are you ready today? And he used to say things sometimes. I remember we played against Newcastle and he'd come past me on the coach. It was away at St James. He slapped me on the head. I'm like a grown man. I'm thinking, what are you doing? And he went, Craig Bellamy's been talking about you. He's told a few people that he's going to destroy you today. Are you ready for that? Don't come back on the coach if he's destroyed you. And I went out and he destroyed you. He was in here somewhere. I brought him on the bus or like that. No, not really. No. He was, but little things like that to really get his players going and to stoke players up. And he just knew how to push buttons. It's great.